Forget everything you think you know about cheese, because Parmigiano Reggiano isn't just cheese. It's a 1,000-year-old tradition, a protected art form, and a culinary masterpiece. And we're about to show you exactly how it's made, straight from the world's largest Parmesan factory. The rich history of Parmesan. Before we step into the factory, let's take a quick trip back in time. Would you believe that Parmesan cheese has been around since the Middle Ages? This legendary cheese was first created by Benedictine and Cistercian monks nearly 1,000 years ago. But why did they start making it? Well, these clever monks were on a mission to create a cheese that could last for a long time. Using salt from nearby mines and milk from cows, bred on monastery farms, they crafted a hard, dry cheese in large wheels perfect for long-term storage. Fast forward to the Renaissance, and Parmesan production was booming. The cheese wheels grew bigger, reaching weights of up to 18 kilograms each. By the 16th century, specialized cowsheds called vacheries were popping up, connected to dairies where cheese masters worked their magic. But here's where it gets really interesting. In 1612, the Duke of Parma, Ranuccio I Farnese, made an official declaration about where cheese from Parma should come from. This was the beginning of what we now call the Protected Designation of Origin, PDO. Fast forward to today, and Parmigiano Reggiano, the fancy Italian name for Parmesan, is still made using the same methods as those medieval monks. But what really makes Parmesan so special that it needs protection? The Protected Designation of Origin. What makes Parmesan special? Parmigiano Reggiano isn't just any old cheese. It's a Protected Designation of Origin product. But what does that mean? Well, it's like the cheese has its own VIP pass. This special status means that for a cheese to be called Parmigiano Reggiano, it has to be made in a specific way, in a specific place. So where exactly is this cheese paradise? Parmesan can only be produced in the provinces of Parma, Reggio Emilia, Modena, part of Bologna, and part of Mantua. It's a pretty exclusive club. But it's not just about location. The rules go way deeper than that. First off is the main ingredient, the milk. The cows that produce this milk aren't just any cows. They're fed a special diet of locally grown forage. No silage, no fermented feeds, and definitely no animal flour. It's a strict, all-natural diet that gives the milk its unique flavor. And did you know that it takes about 550 liters of this special milk to make just one wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano? The milk used comes from the morning milking and the previous evening's milking. Okay, but can't other places just copy this process? Well, they can try, but the climate and bacterial environment of this specific region play a crucial role in giving Parmesan its unique taste and texture. It's not just about the recipe. It's a little piece of Italian tradition that's been protected and perfected over centuries. But now that we know where it comes from, the big question is, how exactly is this legendary cheese made? The Art of Making Parmesan. We're stepping into the Parmigiano Reggiano factory. Inside, you can smell the scent of centuries-old tradition mixed with fresh milk and a pinch of magic. First, let's talk about the vats. These are massive copper vats, each one about 6 feet deep and capable of holding 1,200 liters of milk. Now it's early morning, and the fresh milk from last night and this morning is being poured into these copper giants. But why copper? Well, it's not just for show. Copper heats evenly and even contributes some ions to the mix, adding to the unique flavor of the cheese. Here's where the magic begins. The milk is gently heated, and then something called rennet is added. Rennet is an enzyme that helps the milk coagulate. Basically, it's what turns milk into cheese. They also add a whey starter, which is packed with good bacteria from the previous day's cheese making. Each batch of cheese is connected to the one before it. Now, this next part is super important. As the milk starts to curdle, cheesemakers use a special tool called a spino to break the curd into tiny, tiny pieces. And then comes the cooking process. The temperature is slowly raised to about 55 degrees Celsius. This is where science and art meet. The heat causes those tiny curd pieces to sink to the bottom of the vat, forming a single mass. After about 50 minutes of this, it's time for the big lift. The cheesemaker, using all his strength, lifts this massive cheese mass out of the vat. It's then cut in half. The newly formed cheese is wrapped in a linen cloth and placed into a round mold. This is what gives Parmigiano Reggiano its iconic wheel shape. But we're not done yet. The aging process. Now we're entering what I like to call the patience phase. This is where Parmesan transforms from a fresh cheese into the complex, flavorful delight. First thing added is salt. No, we're not seasoning a steak here. This is a crucial step in the Parmesan making process. After a few days of setting, our cheese wheels take a little spa trip. They're immersed in a saturated solution of water and salt for about 20 days. It's a process called salting by osmosis. The salt helps draw out moisture and starts to form that hard exterior rind we associate with Parmesan. After their salty bath, the cheese wheels get a day at the sauna. They're placed in a warm room for a day to sweat out some of that salt. These cheese wheels are then about to start a journey that lasts at least 12 months. They're carefully placed on wooden shelves in special aging rooms. Every 7 days, each wheel is cleaned and turned. This process ensures that the cheese ages evenly and develops its characteristic flavor and texture. 12 months is just the minimum. Some Parmigiano Reggiano is aged for 24, 36, or even 40 months or more. The longer the cheese ages, the more complex and intense its flavor becomes. Each wheel is worth about $1,000 or more, but it's not just about the money. Each of these wheels represents years of tradition, months of careful attention, and the hard work of countless individuals. From the farmers who tend the cows to the cheesemakers who craft each wheel, it's a labor of love. Speaking of experts, did you know that after 12 months, each wheel of cheese gets a checkup? A cheese expert comes in and taps each wheel with a special hammer. They're listening for the sound it makes, which tells them if there are any imperfections inside the cheese. It's like a doctor using a stethoscope, but for cheese. Only the wheels that pass this test get the honor of being branded with the Parmigiano Reggiano seal. A diploma for cheese, certifying that it's met all the strict standards required to bear the Parmesan name. So the next time you sprinkle some Parmesan on your pasta, appreciate the journey it's been on. That little piece of cheese has been years in the making, cared for by experts, and selected for its quality. It's not just cheese, it's a piece of culinary history. The king of cheeses. So how can you make sure you're getting the real deal? Well, look for that distinctive pin dot rind with the Parmigiano Reggiano name stamped all over it. That's your guarantee that you're holding a piece of authentic PDO certified cheese. And remember, if it just says Parmesan, it might not be the genuine article. And here's a pro tip. Don't throw away the rind. Those tough outer pieces are flavor bombs. Toss them into your next pot of soup or stew for an incredible depth of flavor. If you're hungry for more food facts and factory tours, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And before you go, let us know in the comments. What's your favorite way to enjoy Parmesan cheese? Is it on pasta, in a salad, or straight off the block? Until next time, we'll see you in the next video.